And welcome back, everyone. It's now time for another Sunday Sit-Down. And joining us is the one and the only Coach Luther Tiggs, recently retired Coach Luther Tiggs. So with that being said, first and foremost, Coach, how's the retiree season going for you?
Well, it's boring right now. And, I'm a guy that really likes to be active. Used to putting in 15, 16 hours a day. And it's a little different. But, I like to play a little golf. I love to fish, but don't like to clean them. But I've stayed busy over the last few weeks. It's given me an opportunity to travel a little bit, meet up with some friends, and share some time I hadn't had an opportunity to do in quite a while. But it's going well so far.
Good deal. Well, most recently you were with the Bob Jones boys basketball team. And I'm just run down the stats real quick. 22 seasons as a head coach, 427 victories, 10 area titles, 4 appearances in the regional final, and 1 trip to the Final Four. When you kind of just look back at all that, great achievements, but do you feel like you could have done more?
Well, I feel like I did everything that I could possibly do. Each and every day you get to the gym, you walk in the school building, your whole goal is to figure out how you can impact young people's lives. And to me, it's never been about wins and losses. The most important thing for me, Mo, was to make sure that I could find a way to impact our young people's lives. And we tell them all the time is you're more than a basketball player. Right. And the relationships that you develop over the years, you see these young men graduate, go out into society, be very productive citizens, and then to come back, share some experiences, and most of them come back with families. Many of them go on to do very well, and I'm just so honored and grateful to have an opportunity to be just a small part of that.
Coach, the last time we saw you, you guys were in the regionals down at Wallace State, and quite frankly, it wasn't the best shooting performance by any team you've ever coached. And you told us in the post-game press conference, you guys could probably play that game 10 times and probably not shoot it as bad. So I'd like to know, what was your message to your guys after that?
Me, what I wanted to share with these young men is to get them to understand that, what we accomplished, over the entire season was a great accomplishment. We did a lot of great things. We had every reason to be proud and to hold our heads high. And so we were able to achieve some short-term goals. We winning the area championship and also moving on to the regional, and was 1 step away or 2 games away from a Final Four. And so for me, that was a lot of success, and I thought those young men did a good job of executing our game plan. Didn't play very well that day, and if you don't play well on that day, you go home.
Of course, you've announced your retirement from coaching and teaching, but looks like the Bob Jones program is going to be in good hands as one of your former assistants, Coach Starkey, is going to take over. Did you have anything to do with that, for one? And then 2, how do you feel that the program will move forward under his leadership?
Well, I'm proud of Coach Brian Starkey. And, as a head coach, your goal is to do everything you can to make sure that your assistants get their opportunity. And I'm so thankful that Madison City Schools and Bob Jones High School was willing to give him that chance. He was with me for 8 years as my assistant. And, I like to think that I had something to do with it. I don't really think that I did. He had to go in as a young man and sell himself, right, share his vision, to explain to them what he would do as a head coach. And I think he's gonna do well. And I told him, my message to him was very brief. I said, you have to be yourself. When you go in there, you can't be Luther Tiggs. You've got to go in and sell your vision. There'll be some things that he do that he'll carry over, that he liked. And there'll be some things he'll make changes with. But again, it's a changing of the guard, and I'm so happy for him getting this opportunity. And I don't think much will change. He's got a very young group of young men. The expectations not real high right now. He's got a chance to put his own step on the program and build it the way he wants to build it.
All right, Coach, of course, you've been coaching on the high school level, but got to go to the time machine just a little bit, and I want you to take a look at something. We got something special for you, so let's pop it up right here. Who's that guy right there?
Wow, that's a ways back, and still a lot of great memories from my days at University of North Alabama. And when I got the phone call, I wasn't sure what was going on. I thought they were inviting me down to an event. They were asking me what we were going to be doing on September 30th, and I checked my calendar. There wasn't a whole lot happening. I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Well, we're going to be inducted." And my first reaction was, "Wow!" and just thinking about what I accomplished as a young man growing up in high school. Your dream is never thinking that you have an opportunity to get into the Hall of Fame.
Correct.
This is a very unique group of people. There's only about 160 people who've had this opportunity to go into the Hall. So I'm so thankful for the University of North Alabama for selecting me. It's quite an honor, but I'll be honest with you, I couldn't do it by myself. I had some great teammates that allowed me to achieve some of the accomplishments I did at the University of North Alabama.
Now, Coach, I looked at your stats from college. I mean, you were a pretty good player for one, but the thing that stood out to me the most, an 86% free throw shooting percentage?
Wasn't bad. And to be honest, Mo, that's the only time I had a chance to shoot. Because if you knew the guys I played with, if they didn't get that basketball, there were problems. I was able to have 19 assists in one game. So my job as a point guard was to be a facilitator and a distributor. And to get the ball in the right people's hand at the right time, getting them the possible best shot. And I knew that was a way for me to get on the floor. And so that was my goal every day. And I took a lot of pride in passing the basketball. A lot of young men today really feel like that is something that they want to achieve. They're all about getting the points, to get in the baskets. But somebody's got to do other things, small intangibles to help the team be successful. And last but not least, my opportunity, and as I said before, you can take those 400 plus victories, you can't trade them in for a loaf of bread. But I just think about the number of wins that we were able to accomplish and all the great players that I was able to coach, from all the schools I've had a chance to lead. I just felt like for me personally, it was time to move on and be able to leave on my own terms. And that's very rare these days. And so sometimes you can stay too long. But for me, I thought the timing was right to get a change of the guard, to hand over the keys to someone else. I'm going to continue to be a fan and watch it from a distance. I'm still connected with the Alabama High School Association, with the All-Star teams. I'm still the tournament director of the N2 Hoops Thanksgiving tournament every single year.
One of my favorite tournaments to cover, I'll tell you that.
I appreciate you covering it. And so I'll still stay close to the game. But for me, as far as coaching, my days are over. The only thing I will do is I'll be a consultant, but I'm not calling any plays.
All right, sounds good. All right, we want to thank Coach Luther Tiggs for joining us today here on a Sunday Sit Down. We've got more on Sports Extra coming up after the break.